The hell is this, Zero? 3 miles ago I had 100% battery. And I had like, I don't know, what was it? 80 miles of projected range? The hell is this all about? Can you see this? Look at that. I gotta get to work. We're gonna ride as far as we can go. Let's hope I get there. Alright, look. I'm gonna give Zero the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say that his bike was either very poorly maintained or it was in an accident. But this was 100% when I left my house 10.6 miles ago. You can see that the projected range is 0 miles. It's got 0% battery, and I rode the almost entire 10.6 miles that way. And for a 2014 model, that is pretty sketchy. I would hope that these electric bikes are more reliable than that. But let's turn the key off. Wait for a second. We're going to turn it back on and see what the battery reads. No, it's still at 0%. Still at 0%. That is super sketchy. Go ahead and plug it in and see what it says. I don't know if you can see that. 0%. Turn it off. I'm going to go ahead and plug the battery in. That reads. Look at that. 86%, 87. Still not giving me a good time. 110. I hope you guys saw that. Now it's giving me 69.8 projected range. 87% battery. That is so sketchy. Hello YouTubes. I want to introduce you to the Zero SR that I affectionately have nicknamed Peregrine Falcon, and listen to why. Did you hear her screaming? I am actually on a 2014 Zero SR as a loaner because when the dealer that did my 600-mile service for my 2016 DSR tried to apply a firmware update to the battery management system, apparently it bricked the bike, it fried the board. I'm hoping that was a fluke, but apparently Zero is going to warranty the part and ship it to the dealer, and the dealer will install it and I'll get my baby back. But I don't have an ETA on that yet. Let's hope it's sooner than later, because I'm going out of my mind with grief. I miss my 2016 DSR. My baby is not home and I am suffering. Alright, welcome to my thoughts on the 2014 Zero SR. Please remember, this is just one man's humble and unprofessional opinion and observations. My take on it might be a little different than yours, and that's fine. I'm just sharing it from my perspective, and you're free to take away from it what you will. I want to start by saying the tank here, where your legs go, is different than my SR, and this one doesn't feel, I guess, as comfortable to me. I'm not sure if it's a difference between the 2014 model and the 2016 model, or if it's a difference between the SR and the DSR. But either way, I noticed that it's more pronounced here on the SR, which is kind of cool, but I feel that the DSR is more natural for me. The suspension is, it's obviously going to be different between the SR and the DSR, but I feel like maybe the 2014 suspension is maybe not as refined. I know a lot of people make a big deal about the Showa suspension, so I've definitely come to appreciate that, the difference between the 2016 and the 2014. Also, the pegs, I'm not sure if you can see it here, but the pegs between the SR and the DSR. The SR is more tame. It's easier to like rotate your foot on it, but the DSR is more aggressive and grippy to keep your foot on the peg when you're off-road. So I definitely prefer that, for my personal liking, being the DSR my peg of choice. Also, the brake lever here for the rear brake, I'm not sure if the peg makes it feel different, or if it's a different arm between the 14 and the 16, or a different arm between the SR and the DSR. But to me, the DSR feels more natural for my foot placement. For the SR, I feel like it's a farther stretch, or my foot, I have to raise my toes higher up. And I feel that's a little more uncomfortable for me, for my personal preference. So again, the DSR wins out on that one. With the 17-inch front tire and the different handlebars, the bike definitely feels smaller, more nimble, and I mean, as a result, you know, obviously the bike feels more flickable, a lot more comfortable when riding aggressively in the corners and that kind of thing. So I like that they made the bike feel smaller. That's a kind of a positive thing. But at the same time, naturally the seating position is going to be different, and I find that for myself personally, because of a personal injury I received in a car accident, God, 15 plus years ago, you know, I have a lasting back injury. So the seating position, with me being seated farther forward or leaning forward, and I find that, you know, I'm supporting more of my weight on my arms and shoulders. For me, that's uncomfortable, and I find that after about 20 minutes of riding, my right arm goes numb, and you know, definitely some back discomfort. So again, that's on me and not the bike, but this video is for my personal perceptions and comparisons. So again, the DSR kind of wins out on that one. So I got lucky that I chose the DSR. Had I ordered a 2016 SR, I feel like a lot more of my riding would be basically really uncomfortable, just based on the seating position. Another thing I want to talk about is I've been kind of curious about the windscreen for the DSR. The SR that I have here is it's got the windscreen, and I got to experience it finally. I really like it. It's cool. I mean, obviously it's not gonna block all of the wind, but it blocks a fair deal of it, and makes riding, especially in the colder air, more tolerable. I feel like the brakes are pretty soft on this thing, and again, I believe the brakes were upgraded for this 2016 model, or at least between the 14 and the 16. But I feel like the back brake is really soft on this thing, and I'm not sure if it's because the brakes were upgraded between 2014 and 2016, or if the DSR naturally has a stronger braking force in the rear because they anticipate you being off-road more often, and a lot more braking is done in the rear. But I definitely miss the ABS that is equipped on the DSR for sure. And I think that this motor sounds a little loud to me. Let's see if I can capture the sound of the motor when I get on it here. Just a quick little burst. Just try to listen. So I get a lot of scratchiness in the sound of the motor. I'm not sure if that's normal, and maybe the 2016 motor, you know, with the redesign, is a little more civilized and a little quieter than this design. But I definitely feel like, coming from the 2016 DSR to the 2014 SR, at least this particular one, it doesn't feel, I mean, it sounds like it's broken. I'll be honest, it really does. I'm kind of sketched out about it, and when I first heard it, I was kind of nervous. I felt like it was going to fall apart, and hopefully that's not the case. Maybe this is just a normal thing, but here it is again. Yeah, it's really scratchy. Now, if this was the first Zero motorcycle I ever rode, and I just kind of felt that was normal, maybe it would be different for me, but riding a quieter bike and not being used to that noise, it's definitely concerning. The 0 to 60 on this bike doesn't feel as fast to me, but again, that could be completely my perception. I might be, way off the reservation on that one. And maybe the DSR is a lot slower, but I don't know. Maybe, again, just my own personal perception. I want to talk about the cluster. The backlight for the cluster does not work, and when I use the left blinker, I currently have my left blinker on. I don't know if you can see that, but the cluster indicator does not blink for the left blinker. So the backlight and the blinker indicator do not work on the cluster, and I'm hoping that's isolated to this bike and it's not a widespread issue. But this bike only has 8,652 miles at the moment. I'm sorry, 8,662, I think. And it's only a 2014, so I hope this bike doesn't speak to the widespread quality of the Zero motorcycle line. I feel that the DSR has served me very well, been very reliable, and I feel like the quality is really great on the DSR. So I'm hoping that this bike is just a fluke and this is not a sign of things to come for my 2016 DSR. That would be pretty disappointing. Speaking of flukes and worries, I did start the video with the little visual display this morning showing 0% battery. I had left my house at 100% battery this morning, and not even a mile into my ride, it was showing 0% battery left with 0 projected range, 0 miles projected range, and that was really, really concerning. But you got to see it earlier in the video, and I don't know. Again, I hope that's a one-off thing, and we'll never see it again on any other Zero, or even on this bike again. But it definitely made me worry. I mean, this kind of things don't build a whole lot of confidence. So let's hope that's unfounded. The kickstand on this thing is sketchy. I'm not sure if it's a shorter kickstand because the smaller front tire, or what the deal is. But I feel like the DSR, I can be more confident when putting the bike on the actual kickstand. This thing, I have had near heart attacks, I want to say about 3 times in just a few days that I've been riding this thing, where I'll put the kickstand down and I'm leaning the bike onto the kickstand, and I feel like the kickstand is going to retract or fold back and the bike is going to fall on its side. That is super scary for me, and I'm glad that the DSR is not that way. So I think for the moment that about wraps up the comparisons and the perspectives between the two that I've had so far. So let's just talk about the bike itself now. I still feel that it's a very fun bike to ride. I've definitely been enjoying it. For somebody who wanted to go out and just buy a used Zero, just to be on one and have one for their own, I think that the 2014 SR, if that's in your price range, I think it'd be an excellent choice. Just kind of look it over, make sure that all the equipment is in good working order, because if you need to order any replacement parts or do any fixes, maybe that's not the best first bike. I'm not sure the response times of Zero, for ordering replacement parts and that kind of thing. So just make sure that you know what you're getting into, and as long as you ride the bike, it feels solid. All the electrical components, the blinkers, the cluster, all of the lighting, the brakes work, the suspension's not clunking, stuff like that. Yeah, grab it. 2014 SR, fun bike. It's fast. It's definitely a good experience. I mean, just because I prefer the DSR doesn't mean that the DSR is better than the SR. Just means it's a better fit for me. Again, if you're into electric bikes, you want to hop on a Zero, grab the SR. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. I mean, it's super fun. Super fun. The more Zeros we get out there, the better. Buy them up. Wow, what was up with that, right? 0% battery, and I rode that way for over 10 miles.